But I think that when you feel slighted and your amazing talent, your amazing skills are minimized and diminished, I get it. I get it. You know, I don't. In my life, I've always said there are things that I don't respond to. Like you call me the B word, I won't respond to that. I'm not that. You call me the H word, I won't respond to that. I'm not that. You know, there are things that will trigger me. You know, you better not say dumb, stupid, or crazy, because those are things that would probably get the roof raised. Because it's like, no, I work hard on knowing. I work hard on learning and researching and collecting information. So I get it. I get it. When somebody comes to, in direct opposition or directly against something that you've fostered, you've worked your butt off on, and says, nah, this is what you are. You feel almost compelled to defend it. But it's like the Chris Brown thing, when the whole Rihanna thing came and they wanted to cancel him. His stardom was so big, his following was so big, that even if this was a humiliation ritual, they wanted to cancel him, they wanted to teach him a lesson. Society had already decided that Chris Brown's star was so big you couldn't dim it.
Yeah.
And they had to retract because he was a powerhouse moneymaker. And so is Katt Williams. He's a powerhouse. He packs auditoriums. He makes money. He broke the freaking internet 2024.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do a lot of this mean-spirited, malicious, attacking, dragging, and slandering of individuals, because really, your star, your celebrity speaks for itself. Your skills, your talent, your gifts speak for themselves. And so now the beauty and the person that you are is tainted by the malicious, sometimes almost mean-spirited way that you deliver your critique.
That's the whole point. Cause I feel Katt, when you feel slighted, like you said, and then I would be like, the response would be, well, it's the principle. It's the principle. But then you think about it, well, what's the principle behind all this? Besides all the, Illuminati talk, besides all the, he's a plant, what is the real true principle behind him going at Kevin Hart like that? Because you can be competitive. Any of them, but in particular, just that situation, because he said more about Kevin than anybody else. Like that, they around the same height, I think. It's just one of the things that just, I mean, the more I'm thinking about it, the more unnecessary it seems. People can get caught up in the talking and all that, like, Trick Daddy. That was kind of crazy. I saw him driving and he contradicted himself, because he sat there and said he a street dude, and you could see him any kind of way. And then towards the end, he said something like, as
black singing Kumbaya.
We can't be doing that. We got to stop doing all that. I'm like, okay, well, shit, you didn't even did he even say his name? I don't even think he mentioned him.
Like, which one is it? Well, Ali Sadiq challenging him to a fight. It's like, okay, you want this camaraderie across the board, this peace, a harmonious outcome, but then you're like, we could fight it out and then we can get the proceeds to whatever charity you want. Why does it come to that? All he did was stand up and say, here's where I've been slighted, here are the things that I know, here are the details that I have. A little shade, he threw a lot of shade. Some people got some strays, but he was just essentially saying, I can prove what position I'm standing in. And then all these other people got involved, injecting themselves into the situation, making it bigger than it is, when really the only people that, even if they desired to or felt compelled to respond, were the people that he attacked. And those are the people that should have had something to say. Luda, with the wife thing. I understood wanting to defend your wife. I understood wanting to defend your talent. Again, Katt, you're putting people in the same position that you profess that you're being put in.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
challenging how they got where they are.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. Like, people just they're talking about the surface level stuff. But even that thing he said with Ludacris, it was almost said like, look, man, when you take that money and then all of a sudden you have a woman that fits a certain mold,
Yep.
and they're appointed to you almost like your handler, you know, he have a certain look now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still shouldn't have never said anything about it, but like, I think a lot of people just took it as just the initial comment and not looking beyond what he's saying. He got to a level where he got 200 million, got all these movies, and I guess his contract almost up because he's on
Yeah.
the 10th Fast and Furious movie, and he has a structured, a manufactured lifestyle that came along with that. Now, I don't know what to think about that. I think it's a little weird that that does happen. We don't know if that's 100% true, but if we look into some of these folks who become famous, you do start seeing things like that. I mean, you go on Instagram right now.
Yeah.
And look, I used to be offended when they say all these people look alike and all that. And because I know it's not true, right? However, now that we've been able to use what is that called? People are masters at changing their face and putting on masks. You see a lot of people looking the same, acting the same, mannerisms, everything, and mannerisms and all that stuff the same. And if there is something there to that, where you can kind of hide someone who's there to be your handler. Well, if it's something you're used to seeing, you wouldn't even know if it if it was put there intentionally or not. I found it interesting that Katt said that.
Well, I think, one, let me go back and say this. I think that Katt Williams is so debonair, such a handsome, smart, intelligent, stand-up man. He's so well spoken. Even when he's trying to like be Cat Daddy Mac, Cat Daddy Mac Cat, he's still very eloquent. He's so smart, and he's a spitfire. Like, he comes out spitting fire, literally, and he's confident. He gets attention. He's going to get your attention. People stand up and listen. It's like the old school commercial when E.F. Hutton talks, people stop and listen. And he's that person, it's like E.F. Hutton. And he's that guy. But I think he does his brand a bit of disservice when he gets into these petty discrepancies, these petty spats with individuals that he obviously sees beneath himself. You know what I mean? And it's like, now are we really talking about your skill and your talent and your gift and these doors that God has opened and these positions that God has put you in and you being exalted by the Most High, that are now being overshadowed by your ego? Like,
thank you.
Your packed stadiums that you do not promote, that people show up for in droves, speaks for itself. And they do. I do. Like, I happen to think that he is quite handsome and smart. And everybody knows, if you know anything about me, I think smart guys are hot. I think smart guys are hot. I do. When he used words like grandize, I was like, that man is after my heart. Just some of the language he used just made me swoon. I was like, ooh, that man. then I've always been a sucker for long hair. But, you know, watching him navigate these spaces that he's in, it was almost like stand in the space that you've been provided because you've earned it. You don't have to prove anything to anybody at this point. The very fact that's literally 21, that's the last time I looked. I don't know what it is at this point, but the fact that 21 million people viewed Club Shay Shay, and I really feel like Shannon need to change that because he's too fine and masculine to have something with Club Shay Shay. That's just my touch on it.
Yep.
Viewed that video, and some of us 2 and 3 times, speaks for itself. You don't have to prove anything. And when I watched the Cedric the Entertainer clapback, where people posted the side-by-side of Katt doing his joke and then Cedric doing the allegedly stolen joke, I was so mesmerized with how fine Katt was in the black with the long hair with the cap that I didn't even give a damn that Cedric stole that joke. I was like, he couldn't have been that fine doing it. He could have been that fine doing it. So
your third time choosing up on, you know, and I'm glad you mentioned the joke stealing thing because I looked that up too. Now, Ced is talented. You know, I like the way he tells stories and stuff. But I gotta say, they found another one. One of the jokes that I liked that he did when he was saying he was in the country with his family and he couldn't understand his cousin and he called him Bominicious. And and he kept calling him Bominicious, and it was like, you mean CJ? Said no, he told you his name. He said call him by his initials, right? Well, come to find out, it's a TV show where that was the joke. And that right there, that blew me all the way away. This is the reason why I want to get some comedians up here, because that was a funny joke, but that actually was on a sitcom, I think in the 90s, where the guy, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. The guy he spoke about it. He said it's a Bominicious story where they had these employees. This guy always came to work or something like that. And the lady wanted to write him a check for doing his work and was like, you know, Bominicious, I don't know how to spell that. And he said, no, when I first met you, I gave you my name, but I told you to address me by my initials. And when I saw that, I said, damn it, Ced really did steal it. So, you know, the thing, what I'm saying is that it's a lot of things in the entertainment industry that we just don't get a chance to see, like the ins and outs. Like it's a skullduggery. Like in order to move up, I mean, it's a lot of snaking going on to the top. So I can understand the competitiveness and not wanting to let up on somebody who you feel that haven't really earned it. And it could, and he probably is just the person, because he was like talking about Kevin, because he was put in that spot. Katt is just shaking him down on the strength, almost kind of like how when 50 got into it with Ja Rule. Ja Rule kind of he was an artist that was with somebody that 50 was beefing with, and 50 just kind of you know, drove his career down to the ground. And that's almost what it seemed like is happening. So it'll be interesting to know who are the people that put Kevin in that position that could have put Katt in that position and was done with him. Because that's really what it looked like to me. It looked like that he's just a person of circumstance. It didn't have to be it didn't have to be Kevin. It could have been any other comedian that replaced him, and guess what? That person would be getting put out there relentless.
Well, Mike Epps has alluded to that as well. Mike Epps is another one who is phenomenal in his craft and is completely, to my, you know, in my opinion, overlooked like Katt. Katt, you know, Katt and Mike are amazing. Like, you are not gonna go to a Mike Epps or a Katt Williams set and not literally spend the time dying laughing. And they're not they're not as revered or presented, you know, with these opportunities as those others. I do, of course, you know where I live. Conspiracy. I'll jump in a rabbit hole and chase the white rabbit to the end of it.
Right.
It's just what I don't watch TV. I read. I like those things. So I get it. I get feeling compelled to defend yourself and defend your gifts and defend your honor. Nevertheless, I do believe that when you have worked so independently to build your platform, to build your brand, to be this thing that like, they can't stop him. They can't stop him. No. It's like the Chris Brown thing. They couldn't stop him. It's like they closed the door, but shortly after they had to let him back in. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what's happening with Katt. They tried to close the door, but when you start looking at his earning potential, his star power, God, let him back in. You know, and he's saying on a consistent basis, yeah, now recognize. And that's what this is all about. We can argue the whole, you know, oh, this person stole this, but let's just be truthful. Ecclesiastes says there's nothing new under the sun. Literally. There is nothing new under the sun. What makes the difference is the way you tell it. It's the way you put your spin on it. It's you independently. It's how you personalize it. And Katt Williams is all about originality. So he searches out these opportunities to be himself, to present original content. And that's why he's so frustrated, because he can see it where he's like, that ain't yours. This is mine.
Yeah, you that's your intellectual property, and you see somebody get it and remix it.
Plagiarism.
A certain way, because that joke with the spaceship, I think that said he polished it and made it a little bit better.
He made it his own.
He made it his own. He polished it, made it his own, and the delivery was a little bit better. The music selection that he had, you know, it would fit a wider range of people. It just was when he made it his own, he polished it up. But
I don't think he made it better. I just think he made it his.
He made it his.
Yeah. But isn't that what you do?
Yeah, that's what you do. But I mean, when I saw, and this isn't to be disparaging, but I remember watching him do that joke, and I totally forgot about it. Right. And then when Said did it is his joke. Right. But upon going back and looking at it, like, okay, well, that's where he got it from. And this is where the problem lies. If somebody say, okay, this is where you got the idea from, and you don't pay homage to it, or you don't get them the credit, that's where you're like a slime ball.
It's plagiarism.
Yeah, that's plagiarism, and that's not cool. So if you're amongst your fellow comedians and all of a sudden, you know, somebody taking your stuff, but they're making it their own and not saying, you know, shout out to such and such, that's a problem.
Yes. I think that was the problem.
Professional courtesy. If you don't even if you do it, because they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right? But so that's fine. But when you're taking somebody's stuff, you can't be mad at their response.